Hi everyone, this is Tara Keffer of The Business of Balance, the place where women and especially moms come to find more balanced, joyful, and fulfilled lives through life and career coaching, yoga, and essential oils. So it's Friday, which means time for another video, and this week I'm going to talk about the career coaching side of my business. And I have a lot of passions, and I try to incorporate them all into my business because I feel like they are all related. So I'm passionate about the essential oils, I'm passionate about yoga, I'm passionate about life coaching, and especially helping moms find time for self-care and time for their own interests and passions to keep their sense of self alive while mothering little children. But I'm also extremely passionate about helping moms figure out the right work-life balance and finding work that they love. And I'm extra passionate about that because for 10 years I basically worked in the corporate world, working in finance, and I did not love it. And that's a long time to do something that you don't love. And I broke free of that, and I'm really passionate now about helping people find work that they love. And I believe that it's always possible. And if you're doing what you're truly passionate about and what you're meant to do, that doors will open, and you'll be most successful when you're following your interests and your passions rather than just working for a paycheck or just like being on the hamster wheel, kind of on autopilot, just living for the weekend basically, and being miserable all week. It's not a good way to live. It's not a healthy way to live. So I believe that there's always options and it's always possible. There's just so many opportunities out there this day and age for people to do work that they love. That I just feel like there's no need to be stuck doing something that you're unhappy about. And I realize a lot of people couldn't just quit their job and take a risk doing something like what I did. But there's other ways to go about it that's a little bit smoother, without gaps in pay and stuff like that. And that's what we do in career coaching. So I'm going to list kind of the process that we go through in career coaching and give just a little bit more information of what that entails. But before I do that, so I figured out that if a person works 40 hours a week for 40 years, which is pretty typical these days, probably on the low end actually, that's 83,200 hours they spend at work. And that comes out to 9.7 years of your life. 9.7 years, if it was nonstop of work. That's a long time, and that's a lot of time to spend doing something you're miserable in. So don't do it. So when you come for career coaching, in a nutshell, this is what happens. The first thing we do is a lot of self-exploration, and I have a ton of tools and handouts and assessments to find out your strengths, find out your talents, your gifts, your passions, your interests, all that kind of stuff for you to get in touch with who you are as a person at a deeper level, and maybe get in touch with some things you loved when you were younger that you kind of closed the door on, that you want to revisit those passions, whether it's writing, something artistic, not that you're gonna, like, if you love pottery, you're not gonna necessarily quit your job and make pottery to sell. I mean, maybe you could, but maybe explore what you love about that and see what other work and what other jobs that can translate into. But basically, the first thing we do after all that self-exploration is to come up with a very comprehensive list of all the elements that you want to have in your ideal work. And then we come up with a comprehensive list of all the possibilities of work that you could do. And again, I have a ton of handouts that help brainstorm ideas of every possibility under the sun. And so at first, it's not thinking like, oh, is that realistic? Is that doable? It's just getting every possibility that you might consider down on paper. And then once the list of elements you're looking for in your ideal job is complete, and once the list of all the possible jobs is complete, then we move on to narrowing it down a little bit. And there's a bunch of different techniques we could do also to help narrow down the options. But the big thing is comparing them to your elements and seeing which jobs have most, or, if not all, of your elements as part of that job. And but there's a bunch of other exercises we could do to kind of prioritize all your different possibilities to eventually narrow them down to one or two viable options. And then from there, you would research those couple options that you narrowed it down to, maybe test them out by doing informational interviews, talking to people that do those things, maybe going to the library and actually sitting down and researching those careers, or maybe seeing what's involved in actually moving into that career, like the kind of training or certification that's required, that kind of thing. And then really after you've tested out, done your research, then you decide on your one option that you want to go after. And then come up with a strategic plan of how to make that happen. So if you need to kind of work your way into something new while keeping your current job so that you have no gap in pay, we figure that all out and map out what that can look like. And for example, if you need to take a course or get a certification or something, figure out how you could do that while you're working, and fit it all in and kind of map out how that's going to work. And then another important thing we do is work on any blocks in your way, whether they're internal blocks or external blocks. The external blocks, like such as not having a lot of time to work towards something new, that's more manageable, I feel like, than the internal blocks, like the fear or the self-doubt, limiting beliefs, all that stuff we work on that could be in the way of you basically making your way into this ideal, optimal career path that you've decided on. So we work on getting past all those blocks. And then we work on mastering skills. If there's any skills that you're lacking, whether it's creating a resume, interview skills, public speaking skills, or just maybe it's something technology related. Like if you do want to start your own business, maybe you need to learn how to create a website and that kind of thing. So we identify some skills that you would need to master, and either I would help you with those skills if it was something like creating a resume or prepping for an interview, since I've experience with that kind of thing. Or if it's something I don't have experience in, then I would help you identify the resources where you can basically sharpen those skills and get the knowledge that you need to succeed in your new path that you've identified. And then once you start putting the strategic plan into action, we would follow up on a regular basis to see how things are going, to make sure you're getting the result that you want, and getting interviews, maybe getting job offers, hopefully, or if you're starting your own business, that's picking up traction, and seeing how that's going. So basically, I would follow up on a regular basis to make sure you're getting the results that you want. And if you're not getting the results that you want, then we would tweak the strategic plan or figure out what other skills you need to master to get the results that you want. Or maybe it's a block that's still in the way that we would have to work through so you could get out of your own way to get the results that you want. So as an example, I worked with a client who was an administrative assistant for 18 years or something like that, a long time. And she was thinking of a new career. And so we went through all the self-exploration, and then we narrowed down the options, and she did some research and some testing out. We worked on the blocks, and basically she decided that her ideal would be going into real estate. And so then she had found out about the requirements to get licensed, and found a course near her and that was affordable, and so we set up a strategic plan of what that would look like for her to take the course, and for her it would involve doing real estate on a part-time basis to start while she still worked her current job until she could move into it full-time. And the cool thing too was she thought it would be ideal to have a real estate team, her and her husband working together. And so part of her strategic plan, she was going to start by sitting down with a real estate agent that she knew, to learn more from her as well, face to face, about what was involved and what it was like starting out. So part of her plan was to have coffee with this real estate agent and just learn more, in addition to going online and researching the requirements. So I actually only had a month of sessions with this one client, but we were able to identify through self-exploration her ideal career, set up the plan, work on the blocks, and do all that just in 4 sessions together. So when you're determined, I mean, we could get a lot done in a small amount of time and be really efficient. But if we had more time, we would have worked more on mastering skills, and I would have obviously followed through for results with her. So I just wanted to share that's a little bit more about what career coaching looks like, and the process and the steps that are involved. So it's a really fun process, because really it starts out with brainstorming and learning more about yourself, and the sky's the limit. I mean, anything you could imagine you could put down as a possibility for a possible career choice. And but then it goes from like kind of dreamland to becoming very tangible, actionable steps and a plan that you could put into action to actually get where you want to go, and move into something different in a very strategic and realistic way. So hopefully that helps explain a little bit more about what that looks like. And again, we do use a lot of assessments and tools and little tests to discover your strengths and your talents and your gifts, and it's very unique to the person. And because again, I feel like if you're kind of going in the area of your passions and your strengths, then you're going to have success. And it's just figuring out the best way to make that happen. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Feel free to leave a comment, and I would be very appreciative if you shared this video with your friends or anyone that you know that you think might be interested in career coaching, whether they're looking for a career change and currently working, or they've been out of the workforce for a while, maybe taking care of kids and ready to get back in, and they're trying to figure out what they want to do. Feel free to send this their way. And as always, if you have any questions about this video, my coaching, or my business, you can email me at tara@thebusinessofbalance.com. I'll see you next week.